Happy Monday, everybody. Here again for our Monday episode of Brew and Orange. I am super excited to be here doing this tonight. Man, this has been so fun. We're 10 episodes deep right now, and this thing's only going to get bigger. It's only going to get more fun. Thank you for everyone who is going to watch, who is watching, who is listening. Just great to be here right now. Very blessed. So it is Monday. Hope everyone had a good Monday. Hope everyone stayed safe, wore your mask, wash your hands, do everything you can to protect yourself and your loved ones. That is what's most important right now. So like the shirt says, we got the craft beer. And remember, you can get this shirt too. Okay, you can get this shirt at beerthrone.com. Put in Brew and Orange at checkout. All one word, capital B, capital O, Brew and Orange, 15% off. And shirts like this here, shirts like that can be yours. You can drink local and you can wear local. You can let everybody know about it. So, like we start off every podcast on Brew and Orange, let's get to a brew. And I am particularly excited about this one. And thanks to my buddy Justin, who made a trip to Total Wine. If you're a Tampa person watching or listening, you know Total Wine has got all of the goods. This is off of North Dow Mabry. Here we go. Calusa Zodi, formerly known as Focus. Now, this beer here, the can art's great. This beer is fantastic. Wait till you see the color of it. Go try it for yourself. The flavor, the citrusy, it's refreshing, it's crisp. It's everything you want in an IPA, in a hazy IPA. It's everything you need. Try all their beers. If you're a stout person, they've got great stouts. But definitely go to Total Wine, grab yourself some Zodi and India Pale Ale from Calusa Brewery. This is out in Sarasota. Okay, so brewed and packaged Calusa Brewery in Sarasota, Zodi IPA. Let's get this thing popping. It's an exciting episode. Cannot wait for the rest of this week. You'll find out later, but doesn't matter. Happy Monday. Popping that bad boy. So here we go, as we always do. Let's pour up. Cheers to Monday coming to an end. Rays didn't pull it off. Lightning didn't pull it off, but hey, we'll talk about that later. Gators camp is just full pads, ready to go. Look at that color. It's opaque. It's golden. It's citrusy. It's delicious. It's exactly what I love in all my hazy IPAs. Look at that bad boy. So, again, Zodi IPA from Calusa Brewery in Sarasota. About an hour and a half drive from the Tampa Bay area, and trust me, it would be worth it. Or it's a 18-minute drive up Veterans to go to Total Wine. So, either way, go pick some up. Support your local breweries, whether it's in Sarasota or the Tampa Bay area. Cheers to everyone listening and watching. Happy Monday, everybody. Oh my goodness. Okay, that's the one. That's the one. I don't give out fives, hardly give out 4.75s, but I bet you if I looked at my Untappd, that one was pretty close. And if I gave it anything under a 4.5, I was must have been in a bad mood or something that day because that thing is delicious. Again, check it out. It's perfect. There we go. Calusa Brewery. Check out the can art. Check it out. Zodi IPA. Calusa. Check it out. They just recently did a collaboration with Tampa Bay Brewing Company, the Hop Silo 11. I think I got a 10 coming up one of these episodes. But get yourself out to Tampa Bay Brewing Company. Try that collaboration with Calusa. You ain't going to be disappointed, I promise. So, let's talk about what we kind of mentioned the last couple episodes where the rumors were that there were going to be multiple opt-outs. And in fact, the first couple of practices, there were four players who were not present at practice. Zach Carter, Grimes, Tony, and Copeland. Well, I didn't break the news, but I'm happy to be able to report that all those guys are now back at practice, full pads, ready to go. Copeland was seen on Iverson Clement's Twitter today or Instagram, one of the social media platforms, but they were all seen practicing, popping pads, catching passes, making tackles, doing their thing. And that is a fantastic development because that means this team is full-fledged, ready to go, working at full strength right now. And what I've been saying, on paper, this team is ready to compete with anybody on that schedule. It is a veteran group, and with those three receivers, with Zach Carter, that message rings true on the defensive line and at wide receiver. The skill players are there for Florida. The defensive line is there. The skill players all over the field. It's something that Florida has not seen in a while, and it is a team on paper, like I said, can beat Georgia this year, can beat LSU. We'll talk about some of these schedule predictions that I'm seeing, that I know you're seeing out there, that are just absolutely absurd. It's ludicrous right now, but it's what happens every season. So anyways, we got those 4 guys back. That's huge. We mentioned those young wide receivers. And what I put here, practices from update, what we're going to move into, it only reiterates what I was saying. Those guys are talented but young and inexperienced, and they already benefited from Copeland, Grimes, and Toney being out for only a few practices. They got to show their teammates, show their coaches what they're made of, show the athleticism that made them blue chip prospects and what made Billy Gonzalez and Dan Mullen go after these guys. And they're ready to show off, but now they get to learn from Grimes, a potential first-round pick. He's got the size and the speed to be that sort of player at the next level. Copeland, he was a top 100 player. We battled Alabama for him. We battled Tennessee for Copeland. Florida and Mullen won out, and we saw what Copeland could do late in the season. So now he's going to get to step in. He's going to get another offseason working, building a relationship with Trask, and it's only going to help these younger guys who everybody is very, very excited about. So let's move right into the practice updates. 247 put out, again, practice is closed to the media right now, so these updates are small. They're little nuggets over here for you to digest and just kind of get your teeth wet, get your mouth wet while you're waiting for the season to start right now, because we're all ready for it. We want some football. September 27th is the first game. It's the 24th of October. On Thursday, we're officially 1 month from the Ole Miss game. Fingers crossed that everything goes well. I know I was back on my campus where I work, so students are back on campus. Football, they're in pads, they're clanging, they're banging. So let's just hope that for the next 4 weeks, we can hold out. Everything stays copacetic, and next thing you know, we are talking about a Gator victory over Ole Miss. Boy, do I want to talk about that on this podcast. Trust me, and I know you want to hear it. So, full pads now. There's not just shells anymore. They're not shorts. They're out there. They're going. And you know Mullen makes these practices intense. If you ever get a chance to see the beginning of a Florida practice, look at the Twitter, check the websites, the Instagrams, especially the Instagram, because they get some good stuff on social media. They just put out a fire kind of a practice little put together little tape, and it's great. They're out there playing hard. Dan Mullen is a great motivational speaker. He wants these guys to come out, seize the day, be the one who sets the tone, be the one who's hustling, make your teammates better around you. That's what Dan Mullen's all about. And there was an anonymous kind of article put out by 247, or maybe it was SI, something like that. Coaches were talking about Florida, and they do this every year. The main thing these coaches said is Dan Mullen is notorious for doing more with less, and he does it better than anybody. So I can't wait to see what he's going to do. And you know he's going to turn it on. He's going to be hard on these guys. They lost a lot of time. Excuse me, that's Zodi getting me. They lost a lot of time, lost a bunch of spring practices, and now we're right into the fall. Dan Mullen's going to make it up some way, somehow. He's going to push these guys to the limit, and that's what Dan Mullen does. He gets the most out of the least, okay? You know, this is not some five-star Hearts Butch Jones stuff. This is nose to the grind, pedal to the metal. What is it? Fast, hard, aggressive. That's what Dan Mullen wants to get out of his players. We saw what he was able to do the first 2 seasons, 10 wins, 11 seasons, and 11 wins the second season. Things are looking up. So they're in full pads. Coaches were not impressed the first couple of practices. That's okay. I mean, we just said, first couple of practices after a pandemic-laden time away from practice. It had almost been 8 months, almost a year since they were on the field together as a unit with coaches supervising. So don't be shocked by the term they were not impressed by the first couple practices. That's going to be okay. He's going to get the most out of them. So the most important part, and I should have mentioned this first, there are still 0 positive tests so far on the Florida Gator football team. That's huge. That means that the medical staff, the players, the coaches are doing the right thing. Let's hope these players can continue to do so. It's going to be a volatile environment on campus with students coming back, but let's just hope that the players and coaches and medical staff continue to do the right thing. Let's keep 0 positive tests. That is important. That's what gets us to September 27th playing Ole Miss. That's big. So not colleges across the country can't all say that. Classes started last week at Florida, and we saw what happened after 1 week of students on campus at schools like Notre Dame and Michigan State and Iowa State. They all shut down. UNC went back to online classes. 0 positive tests for Florida. That's a big deal. So let's go to the running back room right now, something I'm particularly excited about because we saw what Dan Mullen does in the transfer portal and what he got out of Lorenzo Lingard. Dameon Pierce is still getting the first reps, the majority of the first team reps, but don't be surprised to see Lingard push Pierce for some of those snaps. The players are all excited about him. I would love to hear what the defensive players have got to say. Lingard's one of the fastest guys on the field. That goes for every position, okay? So don't be surprised. We talked about it earlier. That's thunder and lightning back there, and I can't wait to see it on the field. And those 2 running backs sharing snaps. We saw what Mullins does when he shares the snaps, like he did with Perine and he did with Pierce. He was a little bowling ball. Pierce was running over people, and Perine was catching the balls out of the backfield. We saw what he did in the Orange Bowl. Pierce was deadly back there, and so was Perine. So I can only imagine that there's going to be just the same amount of success between Lingard and Pierce in that backfield. So like I touched on earlier, we can touch on it now. Those wide receivers were able to get a lot of reps. That goes for Xavier Henderson and Jaquavion Fraziers, particularly have caught the eyes of coaches. They were able to suck up a lot of snaps because Grimes, Copeland, and Tony were out those first few practices. Glad to have them back, but we're also glad to see that the talent that Dan Mullen and company saw when recruiting Fraziers and Henderson shows on the field. The players recognize it. We can't wait to see them on the field. Last year, the wide receiver numbers weren't great, but that's because Trask spread the ball around to everybody, the Hammonds, the Swains, the Jeffersons. We saw that. So expect more of that this year from Copeland, Grimes, Tony, and don't be surprised if Xavier Henderson gets on the field. He was that top 100 wide receiver national prospect. And don't be surprised. That's how Mullen likes to do it. The numbers won't be gaudy. They won't be flashy. They're not going to put up Jamar Chase type numbers. However, he's going to spread the ball around, create some mismatches around the field. That's important. Zodi, man, love it. All right, so we got some of the bright spots: wide receiver, and running back. Even the defensive line. Brenton Cox is an absolute animal. I know I keep saying that, but every time a practice update comes out, Brenton Cox continues to show why he got that number 1 jersey, continues to show why he was a 5-star prospect, and why in limited snaps at Georgia he was able to put up the numbers he did. This should not surprise anybody. It certainly is not surprising Dan Mullen and the players on the team. With him to Daryl Slayton, Kyrie Campbell, this defensive line is going to give offensive lines across this schedule and across the country fits. Whoever lines up against them, I don't know who's stopping them. Georgia lost a lot on the offensive line. We saw that. They had a couple of guys taken in the first round. Just be aware that this line is going to be putting pressure. I can't wait to see what Grantham does with Moon at Buck, switching out Brenton Cox and Gervin Dexter. It's going to be unstoppable. It's something that Florida's recruiting at a level at that position that is that's what Florida fans have been waiting to see. So keep an eye on that. So one of the dull spots, I went from the bright spot, and I'm going to hit you with the bad news. Not bad news, but something you're not really expecting because they recruited well at the tight end position. And you brought in Tim Brewster, who's a notable, great coach at the tight end position, especially a great recruiter. And he's got Kyle Pitts there. He's got Keon Zipperer. Evidently, outside of Pitts, people really aren't showing out that much right now. So I don't think it's anything to be concerned about. We had heard great things about Zipper coming out of last year, how he's a great blocker. He's really athletic, the number 2 tight end in last year's class. I expect more positive news as camp rolls on, but I'm willing to bet once the pads get on, the clanging and the banging's happening, the energy and the momentum gets going, I expect more from this tight end position, and I think that's what we're going to see going forward. We already know what Kyle Pitts can do, but we need to see Keon Zipperer come in there and really make a difference, really make an impact, because Kyle Pitts can't do it all on your own. We saw what Mullen does. He likes 2 tight end sets, so who's going to be that second tight end that makes an impact? One notable thing, I think a lot of Gator fans may have speculated this was coming, but Dante Lang has moved over to the defensive side of the ball. He's seeing some reps at defensive end. He's a big athletic guy, and I think finally he was willing to take some snaps in another position so he could see the field quicker because, like I said, Kyle Pitts has kind of got that lockdown, and behind him, even though they haven't been flashing yet, Keon Zipper, of course, it is probably going to be seen he's going to be that second tight end guy. So, again, the O-line, they're just okay. They're kind of up there with the tight end position, but the O-line is something that in the past few years, Hevesy needs to get his hands on that clay. He needs to mold it. He needs to kind of just the more time, the better. And right now, that's what Florida's lacking in terms of development this season is time. They made the switch and put Ethan White at center, and evidently the boy is bad. He's pushing Daryl Slayton around, and we've all seen number 56 is a bad dude. He's looking to make a first-round jump into this next NFL draft, and he's got the potential. He's got the talent. So to hear Ethan White is moving his feet, he's pulling, he's blocking, he's doing his thing, especially up against a line with Brenton Cox, Jeremiah Moon, Daryl Slayton, and Kyrie Campbell. That's got to be promising. So right now we're 2 weeks in. I wouldn't read too much into it because just time is what Hevesy needs to get this O-line game ready and where it needs to be on September 27th. That's what it takes. And as we saw last year, as the games went on, they started to kind of come into their own. They built some chemistry with each other. They put Ethan White in the center, and they framed him with veterans, with people who know what they're doing. Let Ethan White do the manhandling in the middle. He's athletic. He's big. Very underrated recruit, someone that we've got to give. I know we like to take shots at Hevesy and the staff for under-recruiting from time to time, but their evaluation paid off with Ethan White. And if you see these videos that are out there, they may be snippets, but they're not shy to put Ethan White in the middle of these frames, in the middle of that line, show his big body and that he's able to give some protection to Kyle Trask. And when Kyle Trask has time, he completed nearly 70% of his passes last year. So it is very important to have Ethan White there as that anchor in the middle of the line if he's ready for it. And, hey, you got to trust Hevesy's evaluation and development of players. We've seen it from the time he was at Florida before to Mississippi State and back to Florida again. So another dull spot, I hit you with all the positives, and now I'm kind of giving you some of the gloom and doom. Evidently, Justin Shorter kind of isn't playing up to that 5-star role. I mean, he was like the number 18th prospect in the nation in that 2018 class. Disappointed at Penn State. However, he just seems to be a really big-bodied wide receiver who Elam and Wilson are causing problems for. Shorter is having some trouble getting separation from those defensive backs. And Florida's recruited some athletes. Okay, Elam and Wilson are going to be problems. And the next point, Wilson he's really coming onto his own. He's taking a leadership role. He's caught the eye of his teammates, the wide receivers he's facing, and coaches. And that's what you're going to want to see from Marco Wilson this year, complementing Elam on the other side. So this stands to be a great defensive back class coming up. They're giving 5-star guys like Justin Shorter some problems, and they may talk about moving Shorter to tight end. He does have that frame. Some of the talk out of Penn State was he was too big. His hands weren't great. Florida hasn't reported any sort of thing about him not having good hands. However, there is the talk that maybe he's just too big-bodied of a wide receiver. But, hey, he is going up against some really great defensive backs and cornerbacks every day in practice. So, which also bodes well for those defensive backs because they're going up against some really good wide receivers, especially with Grimes, Copeland, and Toney back in the lineup. So, hey, you've got to look at it that way. That's something a lot of people talked about, that Urban Meyer era of football. The hardest team that the offense and defense of Florida had to face were each other every day in practice. So and you have to believe that is the type of environment that Mullen is bringing to these practices. They do these Oklahoma drills to start practice off. Man, they are popping the pads as soon as it starts. It gets the energy, the juice flowing. And that's what Mullen wants. He wants someone to bring the juice. He wants someone to impact and be the positive on the rest of his teammates. That's what Mullen and company look for. So Mullen's a heck of a motivator, I'm telling you. And so that makes all the sense in the world of why he tends to always get the most out of the least that he's able to get. But, hey, we do want to see him recruit harder at Florida. That's all it is. So, big news. First scrimmage is on Friday. So, we may not have a lot of updates right now, but you better believe on Friday stuff is going to start to get out. There's going to be some insiders. Maybe there's some drones flying around, people climbing trees, climbing the light poles. They're going to want to see what Florida's doing in the first scrimmage. You're seeing it all over the country. Teams are starting to scrimmage right now. Dan Mullen is playing this offseason very close to the vest. I don't think it's anything to worry about. I just think this is some gamesmanship from Dan Mullen. So watch out for some updates on the Friday podcast because I'm hoping we have some info about how it went. Did the quarterbacks throw any interceptions? Did we have any deep balls? How the running backs look? It's going to be something to watch. So I mentioned earlier, man, they put out the season schedule for Florida in the SEC. Florida added Arkansas and Texas A&M. One thing that is particularly bugging me right now is all these season projections in a 10-win season give Florida an over or under of 7 wins this season. And I'm sorry, but if Florida only wins 7 games this season, that is highly disappointing. And I'll tell you why, because one of the teams that these projections seem to have Florida losing to is Texas A&M. That's not happening. I don't care. Call me Homer. Call me a sunshine pumper. I don't care. Florida's not losing Texas A&M. We talked about it on the other podcast. They lose out on home field advantage. An empty stadium ain't doing nothing with the 12th man. Florida on paper is better. They're better on the D-line. They're better at defensive back. They're better at wide receiver, and they're better at quarterback. Stop all the love of Kellen Mond. Barton Simmons is notorious for tooting that Kellen Mond horn on a regular basis, always talking about he could be this, he could do that. Look what Trask did last season. Completed nearly 70% of his passes, 8 yards per attempt. 24 touchdowns, 6 interceptions compared to Kellen Mond, 19 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. That's with less game action. I'm not buying the hype from Texas A&M. I haven't bought into the hype from Texas A&M since Jimbo Fisher went there. So it ain't starting this year, not when Dan Mullen's put together on paper some of the best talent that Florida's had since those Urban Meyer days. Yeah, it needs to be better, and he's working on that, as you've seen from the recent spur of recruiting, the positive waves that are going on. I'm not buying the Kellen Mond or Texas A&M hype. Neither should you. So when you read that article, disregard it. Come watch my podcast and listen to why Texas A&M is not beating Florida this year. I don't care if it's in Texas A&M in the swamp or on the moon, it ain't happening. Kellen Mond's not ready for the juice that this Florida defensive line is going to be bringing him. Okay, so what we got here? Trask completed 70%. There's just no way. The defensive line's better. The offensive line's better. The cornerbacks are better. I don't see it unless for some reason Mullen fails to have this team prepared for that game. Florida should cruise past that. Florida should really start the season 4-0 going into the stretch with Georgia and LSU and that kind of thing. So look for that to happen. As the weeks get closer, we may do a game-by-game analysis. I really like doing that. So maybe one of these days we'll go ahead and start off with Ole Miss and we'll just make our way through the schedule because it's an exciting schedule. It's all SEC games. There's nothing more exciting than a Saturday afternoon watching the SEC. So let's move back. Let's just wrap this up real quick because there's exciting stuff happening on Wednesday. We're going to have, and I am so excited about this. I don't know if you can tell, but let me drink to this. This is a Brew and Orange exclusive right here. I'll tell you, people, take opportunity when a door opens, walk through it, charge through it, location, location, location. We're going to have a former Gator great national championship winning quarterback on the podcast on Wednesday. You heard that right. We're going to have a former Gator great on our show on Wednesday. It's going to be recorded earlier in the afternoon due to some scheduling, but I'm going to link it together, and you're going to be able to listen and enjoy it with me on Wednesday night. So please, that's neither here nor there. Let's get right back. I got a couple more tidbits for you just to close up a little bit of recruiting talk. Kamar Wilcoxon has officially graduated high school. He will enroll in December at Florida. Big news. It's great to have these recruits be able to come in and start early and get the development they need. Collier, Marshall, Young, and Montgomery will all enroll early as well. Not reclassify, but they're going to be able to enroll early, and they're going to get a jump on the developmental stage playing with this team, kind of like Josh Braun, Tarquin, and a couple of those guys did last year. That really helps. That's Dan Mullen's favorite thing. He loves to get the guys on campus early, get them in pads, get them on the field, and just expose them to what it's like to be an SEC top caliber kind of a player that Florida loves to have. So again, Wednesday, please check us out. We're going to have I'm not spilling any names right now. Maybe we let it slip before on the Instagram or the Twitter, but just know we're going to have someone on here that I know all the Gator fans know and love. He did great things. He's still doing great things. So check us out on Wednesday. Yes, that's how I feel right now. I can run through a damn wall. Sorry, watch my mouth. Kid show. All right. So let's wrap up. Full pads. Practice is banging and clanging. Man, that's what I'm talking about, man. That list is it's a short list right there. Short list. So clanging and banging in practice. The 4 initial opt-outs are back. Things are looking up for Florida right now. Evidently practice wasn't impressive at first, but the end of the week, they got the juice. I think it was the pads. You put the pads on, you get banging around a little bit, and they got fired up. So be on the look for some positive news from Friday's scrimmage. Come and check us out on Wednesday for that big, big deal coming. And please, go treat yourself to some beautiful, beautiful craft brews Monday. No, I did put on YouTube. This is not a kid show. They asked you that, and I said no. But anyways, so I guess curse all you want, but that's neither here nor there. So get yourself some craft brews. Get yourself some Calusa. Again, shout out to Justin for putting me on this at Total Wine because I went there after work and I got me some good brews. They got all the local stuff, and it's in a one big section. You can find everything from Brew Bus to Cigar City, the stuff in St. Pete. It's all there for you. Please go out, support your local breweries, support your local restaurants. Support Beer Throne. Go get yourself a craft beer t-shirt. Beerthrone.com, 15% off at checkout. Just use the code Brew and Orange, capital B, capital O, one word, Brew and Orange at checkout, beerthrone.com. Cheers. Happy Monday. Hope everyone has a great Tuesday, has a great Monday evening. And I'm going to see y'all again on Wednesday. And when I do, I promise Brew and Orange is on the up and up. I appreciate Justin, my friends, my family, everybody supporting me, man. It has been so much fun. This is episode number 10. What started as an idea in a Chicago bar has now been put on the video and on the podcast. It's a great thing. So come check us out Wednesday. Check out the website, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Brew and Orange. Very easy. You'll find us. Subscribe while you're watching, too, if you haven't already. So cheers to everybody listening. Cheers to everybody watching. And I can't wait to see everybody on Wednesday. Cheers.